Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Make It Yourself. So guys, I love owls as home decor and I have already made two wall hangings, in fact two owl wall hangings, and if you would like to have a look at those, please do refer or visit my channel. And in today's video also we are going to make this wall hanging which has two owls sitting on branches with flowers and has a background to it as well. So let's get started with today's video, and this video has two parts. This is the first part where I will teach you to make all the small appliques like the owl, the flower, the branch and the leaves, and in the next part I will teach you how to stitch them together and finish it off with all the smaller details. So let's start off with the owl first. So for the owl I'm using a hook of 4.5 mm crochet hook, and I am using cotton yarn and I am double stranding it to make the owls a bit bigger in size. So I'm going to start off by making a slip knot, and then I'm going to chain 4. So chain 1, chain 2, chain 3 and chain 4. So now into the first chain we are going to make 9 double crochets. So this first chain acts as the center part, and chain 3 makes the first double crochet. So along with these 9 double crochets, we will, including the chain of 3, we will have 10 double crochets in the center stitch or the center chain. So make 9 double crochets into the first chain. This is the body of the owl, which is in white. So guys, you can use a single strand of cotton yarn also, but you will get a owl which is much smaller in size compared to the one that we are making today. So make all the 9 double crochets in the first chain, and once you are done we are going to slip stitch it to the first stitch. So the first stitch, as you can see, it has 3 chains. So the third chain, under these top 2 loops, we're going to insert our hook, and this might be a bit tricky but doable. So insert your hook into the top 2 loops and pull the yarn through it and then make a slip stitch. So this is the center part of the bird. So we're going to pull it tight and then trim off this yarn. So as you can see, I have 2 tail yarn, so I'm going to use a smaller crochet hook and then stitch it into the existing stitches, and once I feel that the yarn is securely pulled in through few stitches, I'm going to trim off the excess. So this is the center circle part. So now I'm going to make the wings and the head, and I'm using a gray yarn. Here too I'm using it double stranded, and I'm going to make a slip knot first, and I'm using the same size crochet hook. So I'm going to connect this to the body, that is the white circle which we just made. So we are going to make it on the second stitch from the join, first and second. So this is the skip one stitch from the join and the next stitch. So there we are going to make a standing single crochet. So for standing single crochet, you just, along with the loop, pull out another loop and make a single crochet. So after this, into the next stitch, so before that we are going to first make chain 2, make a chain of 2, and into the same stitch we are going to make 1 double crochet. So insert your hook into the same stitch and make 1 double crochet. So now into the next stitch we are going to make 1 double crochet and 1 half double crochet into the same stitch. So this is our first double crochet, and next we are going to make a half double crochet into the same stitch. And while we are doing that, you can see that behind I'm trying to hold the tail yarn also and trying to make the crochet stitches over it so that we can hide the tail yarn while we are making the stitches. So you can leave it and stitch it in later with a needle or a crochet hook, but this way it is easier because we don't have to go back to it again later. So into the next stitch now we are going to first make 1 single crochet, and then we are going to chain 2, chain 1, chain 2. Now we are going to make 1 double crochet in the same stitch, and on top of this double crochet we are going to make a chain 3 picot. So first chain 3, chain 1, chain 2 and chain 3. Now insert your hook into the base 2 loops of the chain. So these are the 2 loops. Insert your hook there, pull through that and make a slip stitch. So this is a chain 3 picot. Now into the next stitch we are going to make 3 double crochets in the same stitch. So this is the first double crochet, this is the second double crochet, and this is the third double crochet. So this is the head part that we are working on. So now into the next stitch make first 1 double crochet. On top of this double crochet we are going to make a chain 3 picot. So this chain 3 picots acts as the ears of the owl. So chain 3, insert your hook into the base 2 loops and pull through it and make a slip stitch. Now make a chain of 2 and go back to the same stitch and make a single crochet in the same stitch. Now moving on to the next stitch, we are first going to make 1 half double crochet, and following this we are going to make 1 double crochet in the same stitch. And into the next stitch make 1 double crochet, chain 2 and make a single crochet in the same stitch. So as you can see, the wings and the head part is done. Now we are going to make the tail. So we will be skipping 1 stitch. So for that we are going to slip stitch into the next stitch because we don't want to make any other stitches there. Then into the next stitch make a slip stitch first, then we are going to chain 4 because we are going to start our tail here. So chain 4 and then make 2 treble crochet in the same stitch. So for a treble crochet you yarn over twice and pull through 2 loops at a time, and we do this 3 times. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull a loop and pull through first time, second time and the third time. So in the next stitch we are first going to make 2 treble crochet. So this is the first treble crochet, and this is the second treble crochet, and we are going to chain 4. So make a chain of 4, 3 and 4, and then slip stitch to the same stitch. Now we need not work on the next stitch, but since we had slip stitched in the previous stitch just before the tail, so we are going to make a slip stitch here as well. And then we're going to chain 1 behind, and we're going to pull the yarn tight to secure it like a knot, and then we are going to trim off the yarn. So as you can see, the owl shape is ready. We have the head, the tail, the wing. So we are going to crochet in the tail yarn into the existing stitches. You can also use a needle and stitch it into the existing stitches. If you are planning to use a needle, make sure to leave a longer tail. So here our owl is almost ready. Next we are going to make the eyes for it. So we are going to use a 3.2 mm crochet hook, and we're going to use a single strand of the cotton yarn. So we're going to make a slip knot, and we are going to chain 2. So into the first chain, so we are going to treat the first chain as a center, and we are going to make 6 single crochets. So make 6 single crochets into the center stitch. So this will be the frame for the eyes of the owl. So make 6 single crochets, and when you are done, you will have to slip stitch to the very first stitch. So once you're done, you're gonna slip stitch. So insert your hook under the 2 loops, and then you can make a slip stitch. So this is the first eye. So for the second eye, we're going to chain 2 again, and into the first chain we are going to make again 6 single crochets. So first single crochet, the second, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, and the sixth one. Now we are going to slip stitch, but we are going to slip stitch into the same stitch where we had slip stitched for our first round. So for the first eye where we had slip stitched, into the same stitch we are going to insert a hook and make a slip stitch. After that, pull the yarn tightly and then trim off the yarn. Now with whatever extra yarn is there, you can use a smaller hook or a needle and then crochet it or stitch it into the existing stitches. So we will be making the beak and the legs and stitch the eyeballs, which we'll do it later. Now we're going to make a branch. We are using a 3.5 mm hook, and I'm using a single strand of brown cotton yarn. I'm going to start off by making a slip knot, and I'm going to chain 43. So go ahead and chain 43. In fact, you can chain as much as you want. Now for me, I wanted the length of my branch to be such that I wanted few leaves on one side, and I wanted one of the owls to have some space to sit on it. And considering the size of the background I was making, I have chained 43. So if you would like to add more leaves or flowers, you can in fact make a longer branch. So once you're done, you're going to slip stitch over the first 6 chains. Now this also is not mandatory. You can change the number of slip stitches or the point where you want to make a bend. So after 6 chains, we are going to actually make a joint slip stitch so that we have a kind of a bend in the branch. So here after the 6, the next 2 chains, we are going to make a joint slip stitch. So insert into the first chain. Now insert into the next chain, and then pull the loop of the second chain in through the first 2. Now what this does is gives the branch a little bit of a bend or a little bit of a shape, because as you can see, normally branches will not be exactly straight, so it gives some structure to the branch. You can in fact skip this step and just slip stitch over the entire chain. That will also work. So now after I'm making 7 more slip stitches into the next 7 stitches. So as you can see, there is a bend out there because of the join, and here I'm going to make 3 single crochets over the next 3 chains. So this will give some thickness to the branch here. So over this part, it will be easier to attach the leaves. So as you can see, it has given some shape to the branch. Compared to if you would have just made slip stitches over the entire chain, it would have been straight. Now as you can see, it has given a little bit of shape which looks like a branch. So you can slip stitch the rest of the chain, and then at the end chain 1 and trim off the yarn. You can stitch in the tail yarns, and now we're going to move on to make the leaves. So first we're going to make a bunch of 3 leaves. For this also I'm using 3.5 mm hook and a single strand of green cotton yarn. I'm starting off by making a slip knot and chaining 7. So the pattern for the leaf will be same for all the leaves. So I'm going to chain 7 first. And then into the first chain I'm going to make a single crochet. Into the next I'm going to make a half double crochet. In the next one I'm going to make 1 double crochet. So 1 more double crochet in the next one. Now we'll make a half double crochet, and following this 1 single crochet. So on the other side also we're going to do the same, but since this is the last stitch, so into the same stitch again we're going to make 1 single crochet, and on the other side of the chain, the other loop, we are going to make 1 half double crochet next, followed by 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. So 1 double crochet in 1 stitch, and the next double crochet in the next stitch, and then we are going to make 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, and following this we are going to make 1 single crochet in the last stitch. So we can trim off the tail yarn. As you can see, I have done the crochet stitches over the tail yarn, and the remaining I just trimmed off. So this is one leaf, and the pattern will remain same for the others also. Now I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch. So the single crochet on the other side, I'm going to slip stitch it to that, and then I'm going to chain 2. So after chain 2, I'm going to make another leaf. So I'm going to chain 7 again, and for this also I'm going to repeat the same steps. I'm going to first make a single crochet in the first, followed by a half double crochet in the next. In the next 2 stitches I'll be making 1 double crochet in each. So this is the first double crochet and the second double crochet, followed by a half double crochet again, and then a single crochet. Now since this is not the last stitch, so you have to jump over and move to the other side of the same stitch. So there'll be another loop for the same stitch. So you make a single crochet on the other side, and then make a half double crochet on the next loop. So it is the same chain which has 2 loops. So we worked on a first side, and now we are working on the second side. So following this, we are making 2 double crochets and a half double crochet, and the last one is a single crochet. So after this, what I'm going to do is, I want a little bit of a pointy end to the leaf, so I'm going to chain 2 and then slip stitch it to the first single crochet. And also I want to make a third leaf, so I'm going to work my way to the base. So I'm going to slip stitch over this side of the leaf. So slip stitch over the next 5 stitches so that you reach the center part or the join. So slip stitch over all the 5 stitches, and now make a slip stitch in the chain 2 space. So we had a chain of 2 before we started the leaf, so slip stitch out there. And now we are going to make a third leaf. So we're going to chain 2 first, and also before making the third leaf we would like to connect it to the branch. So I'm adding the leaf to the end of the branch, so you can insert your hook into the any of the stitch towards the end of the branch, and then pull a loop and make a slip stitch. And after this I'm going to make the third leaf. So instead of making all the 3 leaves and tying it at the end to the branch, you can do that way also, but it will have lots of endings and may have a knot that does not look good. So I prefer to do it this way. So I make chain 7 to make a third leaf and use the same pattern. I make first a single crochet followed by a half double crochet and 2 double crochets in the next 2 leaves, and a half double crochet, followed by 1 more single crochet, so make the single crochet and then we move to the other side, and then we start off by a single crochet, and following this we make a half double crochet, and make 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. So 1 double crochet in the first stitch and 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Make a half double crochet in the next stitch, followed by a single crochet in the last stitch. So after this we are going to make the pointy edge by chaining 2. So chain 2 and slip stitch to the next stitch, and we are going to slip stitch our way back to the base. So we are going to make 1 slip stitch in each of the next 5 stitches till we reach the base of the leaf. So this is the last slip stitch, and once you are at the base of the leaf you can slip stitch there, or you can also trim off your yarn here. So we are done with the 3 leaves. Now using a crochet hook you can slip stitch, you can crochet in the tail yarn into the existing stitches. So you can crochet it over the branch also, it's not an issue because we'll be adding a flower and that will be hiding the extra stitches at the center part. So I'm going to make 1 more leaf. So this will be a single leaf that I attach to the branch. So this will also follow the same pattern. So we start off by making a chain of 7. So you can make as many leaves, you can make cluster of leaves, or you can attach single leaves also following this pattern and this way of attaching to the branch. So the first stitch we are going to make a single crochet, and into the second stitch we are going to make a half double crochet. Into the next 2 stitches we are going to make first 1 double crochet in the first one and 1 double crochet in the next. And into the next stitch make a half double crochet, and into the last one make a single crochet. And since this is the last stitch, so into the same stitch make 1 more single crochet, and on the other side, that is on the next stitch, make a half double crochet. Then make 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches, make a half double crochet in the next, and make a single crochet in the last stitch. So you can cut off the tail yarn since you have already made few stitches over it. So make a single crochet in the last stitch, and now we will be making a chain of 2, and we will first slip stitch into the branch and then we will make our slip stitch to the first stitch. So insert your hook into the branch, pull a loop and make a slip stitch. Now you can make 2 slip stitches over the chain 2. So make the slip stitches over the chain of 2. So make a slip stitch into the first chain and then into the second chain, and then make the slip stitch into the first chain of our first round. So into the starting single crochet, so make a slip stitch there as well. And now you can chain one, pull the yarn tight, and then trim off the yarn. So you can stitch in the tail yarns. So now I'll teach you how to make the flower as well. It is a very simple pattern. So I'm using the same 3.5 mm hook and a single strand of red color cotton yarn. I'm going to make a magic ring and then chain one. So this chain one acts as the first single crochet. So over this chain one, I'm going to chain three again. So chain three, chain two, and chain three, and into the magic ring make one single crochet. So now again make a chain of three, and then again make a single crochet. So continue making this single crochet and chain of three until you have a total of 5 petals. So repeat it a total of 5 times to have 5 petals. And once you are done with 5 petals, and once you close the magic ring, you will see that the shape of a flower is created. So you can pull the tail yarn to close the magic ring. So we're done with 4 petals. So this is the last and the 5th petal. So make a single crochet, and then you can pull the tail yarn tightly to close the magic ring, and the flower, as you can see, the flower shape is created. So you can now pull this yarn and then trim it off. So pull it tight to make it fasten like a knot, and then trim it off. And you can cut off the middle tail yarn, and you can stitch in the tail yarn that is hanging at the end. So this is the first part of the video, and in the second part I will teach you how to stitch in the eyes and make the beak and the legs of the owl, and how to stitch it onto the branch. I will also teach you how to stitch the flowers with the centers to the leaves, and overall how to make the background and how to add the fringes. So refer to the description for the link of the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon for notification, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.